a couple of things we're working with in this class that one of the participants shared, which is overwhelm and confusion. And so I was just sharing before you got on that when we have overwhelm, when we have confusion in our body, it's always beneficial to get grounded, get centered, and to get quiet enough so that we're listening to what our body has to tell us. So when we have any sort of past traumas, which most people do, or when we have past adverse experiences in ourselves, our body kind of can hold this. And so the more that we can release any tensions that are in the tissues through our body awareness, the more that we open this space for clarity, and we open this space for more groundedness, more centeredness to come in. And you'll find that the more we do these practices, the less and less there is confusion just naturally. So let's go ahead and let's get going, and I'll add more theory in as we get going in the class. So let's start. If you can stand, I want to get us going standing first. So I'm going to move. I'll move my chair out of the way. So I want to start us out with just a little bit of Qigong practice, and this is all the entire half an hour that we're working together. This is all getting us present with our body. So let's just let our breath be really smooth. We're not trying to manipulate the breath in any way. We're just letting our breath be very natural. And with our palms down, we're going to bring our arms up to about shoulder height. Then we bring the palms up. And then we're very gently, slowly, the hands come back down towards chest. And I like to add my breath with the movement. You can choose what feels good for you. So again, palms are kind of down until we get to shoulder height. Then the palms are up. And then we bring the energy back down. So this is a Qigong practice, and it's helping us just initially get focused with the body, bring our attention to the body, and help to kind of soothe our qi, soothe our energy. Let me just go.
This meeting is being recorded.
So again, arms are down at first, palms are up. And then we're bringing the energy back down to center. Let's go with 2 more times doing this. You can match your breath with it if that's what feels good. And already, I want you both to bring kind of like hyper awareness into what your body is doing. So throughout this entire class, if your thoughts start to wander, bring it right back to what is your body doing in this moment. Okay, one last time. Okay, and then we'll bring a little bit more energy into it. So you're going to kind of cup your hands like this. So this is, in Chinese medicine, this is a Tui Na move, which is a bodywork technique. And this is just kind of like livening up that qi. You're going to pat just on your arms. So you're moving down this lung channel in Chinese medicine. And then you're going to bring the pats down your torso, down your legs, touching the ground, and then we bring it back up. So again, we're just bringing our awareness into the body. You can even go on the sides. We're waking things up. And we're getting ourselves out of our thoughts into the body. So you can play with it a bit and what feels natural to you. So what I always tell my students is we really want to get good at following the impulse of our body. Following what is the felt sense of how our body wants to move, which direction our body is bringing us to work with. And then bring it down your back body as well. So just patting down the back of your legs. You can pat your kidneys a bit, open up the kidney energy. And again, anytime the thoughts start to wander, you're bringing it right back to the action you're doing with your body. And I want you to just come to a place of centering. So come to a place of stillness. Your eyes can be open or closed, and just taking a few moments to just feel that. Feel that chi kind of awakening in your body. The two practices that we've done so far, just feeling how that awakened some sensations in your body. Tuning in there. And then bring your awareness to your feet. So we're going to work with a little bit of potent posture. So people that have been studying with me for a while, I come back to this a lot because you can tell a lot about what your body is trying to communicate with you if you pay attention to how you carry the weight in your body, if you pay attention to how you move through space, if you pay attention to places that are misaligned in the body. So we're going to start from the feet and move up. So bringing the awareness to the bottom of your feet. And for anyone sitting, you can absolutely do this sitting as well. You're just bringing that awareness to the bottom of your feet. Noticing which parts of your feet are in contact with the ground. Which parts of your feet are not in contact with the ground, so they're not touching the ground as heavily. And then moving your awareness up to the ankles, to the shins. And again, I want you to be hyper-focused to what's happening with your body. So if thoughts start to come in, you're coming right back to what are you sensing in your feet, in your legs. For some people, this might be easier if your eyes are closed. I always say whatever feels safest for you, eyes open or eyes closed. And so notice, what pressure do you feel in your legs, your feet? What temperature do you feel? What sensations do you feel? The thoughts arise, just bring it back to the body. and traveling up the legs to your thighs, to your hips, to the backs of your legs, back of your knees. What do you feel there? Do you notice if there's any tension? Do you notice if one leg is carrying more of the weight than the other? Are your knees soft or are your knees locked? If you're noticing that perhaps one leg has more weight than the other, just notice it first. And then balance the weight out. And feel what that feels like. Because it's likely if one leg was carrying more of the weight, you probably stand like that all the time. So notice what it feels like to be even in the weight. Notice if you have more weight forward or if you have more of your weight back. So we can tell a lot about somebody's lived experience just based off their posture, just based off of how they stand, how they move their body, how they move in the world. What stories is their body carrying? What wounds is their body carrying? Just notice, and if you notice your weight is more forward or you notice your weight is more back, and then bringing it more center. So for example, I noticed when I first started doing embodiment work and nervous system work, my weight was constantly forward. So I could feel there was more pressure in my toes. And if you knew my personality back then, I was very much constantly trying to constantly trying to move forward because of everything that I've experienced in my life. And so it took a lot of practice to naturally kind of always be in a potent posture, in a centered place. So now bring your awareness up to the torso. And just noticing what you can sense there. What pressures are there? What temperature do you feel in this part of your body? Can you feel anything internally with your organs? Is there any pain? Is there any tension? And if you find a place in your body where you feel tension or you feel pain, stay with it. Perhaps you feel a little bit of tightness in your intestines or in your belly. So as the thoughts start to arise, bring it back to that sensation in the belly. Perhaps it's in your knee, your ankle. And your job is to simply feel what you feel. You might find as you begin to feel the tension or you feel the pain, it might become more pronounced. Notice if that pain or that tension or that tightness, does it have a temperature to it? If it's pain, is it a throbbing pain? Is it a sharp pain? Maybe a dull pain. And then notice as you focus on that sensation of a tightness or a pain, how How is your balance affected? Do you still have equal weight on both feet? Do you still have equal weight in the front part of your feet to the back part of your feet? And moving our body scan up the body into our chest, our heart, also the back of our torso, the kidneys, our spine, the back part of our heart as well. For example, when I first started to do this work and I noticed I was always so forward, I was always into the next thing. I was always racing, 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 moving on to the next and moving on to the next. I was completely out of touch with my back body. And that became very, very apparent when I would do this work and I would tune in. Most of my feeling sense was much stronger in the front of my body than in my back. So just notice what's there for you. Noticing what you feel in your torso, the front, the back, the sides. See if you can become so aware of what you feel that you can even feel what your clothes feel like against your skin. So when we allow the body to speak, it speaks. When we feel what we feel in the body, this is where the healing starts to take place. We have to feel what we experience. Our society is very conditioning to us suppressing what we feel. We're trying to replace what we feel, trying to avoid what we feel. And so how can we be with what we feel without analyzing it with our thoughts? So there's no need to analyze if we're feeling pain or we're feeling a place of tension in our body. There's no need to analyze it with the thoughts. We're simply allowing it to be as it is. We're allowing ourselves to simply feel so that it can be released. And so now moving the body scan to your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Again, just noticing what's there. Maybe you didn't realize that your right shoulder was sitting a little bit higher. So can you relax that down? And then pause to notice what that feels like. Allowing your breath to be natural, fluid. Notice if you are perhaps holding your breath, which often is the case when people are just starting in this work and they're just starting to feel in their bodies, there can be this suspension of a breath. Just take a couple of more moments simply noticing what you feel. Noticing where your weight is at in your body. Now we're up to the head, the neck, the top of your crown. And so this can be somewhere where people can feel a lot. And so just sensing if there's anything there, if there's any tension or pressure, sensation. And then I want to bring us into a containing practice, working with the head. So you can stay standing, or if can come back and take a seat. I like to sit with this practice so we can really experience what we feel. So stay in that place of this awareness of the body scan. And I actually want you to bring your hands to support your head. So your hands are going to be on the side of your head. Your eyes can be closed or open. And you're coming back into that felt sensing. So this is a containment practice that we use in somatic experiencing and nervous system regulation. And this is containing all of that energy that's between our hands. So notice what's there. Notice if there's any tension, any pain. For a lot of people, there's a lot of sensation. And then you're going to let your head be relaxed, and you're going to move your hands. So you're kind of moving your skull. Eyes can be open or closed, whichever one is going to help you bring your full awareness to your head, to all that energy, all those thoughts, all the buzzing that happens in this place. It's like you're giving yourself kind of your own craniosacral movement here. You're just moving your hands. What is it that your thoughts are containing? What is it you've been holding? And you're reminding your body with these movements that it is contained. So the challenges, the problems perhaps that are there, they're not infinite. Okay, we can contain what is here within the body. Then I want you to bring your hand, one hand down to your heart, and the next hand down to your heart. Taking a couple big breaths. And now we're going to contain in this space. So any emotions that are there, anything that you've been working through today or the past few days, maybe it's been years. What is there underneath these hands? And again, allowing it to be. So we don't need to make a story of anything. We don't need to go into our past or analyze what we feel. We're just feeling. And knowing that it's contained. Knowing that we ultimately have the power to move through anything that we're experiencing. And then bring one hand at a time to your belly. And notice if there's anything there. So our vagus nerve is running from our brain stem to our coccyx. And this nerve is a regulator for our nervous system. And this nerve can get a little bit wonky if we've experienced trauma or we've experienced chronic stress. And it can interfere with the gut-brain axis. So we know that our gut, the mitochondria, the bacteria, is in constant communication with our brain. But if things get wonky in the vagus nerve, the communication can kind of short circuit. all we need to do is listen. That's the first step, is just listening, sensing, feeling, and allowing our bodies to speak. So noticing if you have your hands on your belly, just if there's anything there, if there's any sensations. And then doing a couple of moments of coming back to that body scan. So just noticing we've gone from the feet all the way up and now we're coming back down. Has anything shifted? Have any tensions shifted now that you've allowed them a space to be and to express? And speaking of the vagus nerve, I want to bring us into a little practice next that's going to stimulate the vagus nerve. So this tonifies the vagus nerve. And it helps when we have the vagus nerve tonified, it helps us to regulate between parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. And the more you come to these classes, the more you'll understand the theory behind all of it. You don't need to understand it mentally right now. Just need to understand that this is helping you regulate. So you're going to bring your hands, you're going to interlace your fingers, put them behind your head. Let your shoulders relax away from your ears. So you're going to keep your head completely still. And you're going to turn both of your eyes all the way over to the right, as far as you can bring that gaze, all the way over to the right. Your head stays center. Let your breath be soft and natural. One more long breath. You might find that you sigh, or some people yawn when doing this. And that's a good sign. And then slowly bring your eyes to center. Take a breath here. And then bring your gaze all the way to the left. Your head stays center. Gaze is all the way to the left. Take a few breaths here. So this is activating the part of the vagus nerve that connects to your eyes. And slowly bring it back to center. Relax your arms down. And just experience that for a few breaths. Letting that activation happen in the vagus nerve. We're going to do another exercise for the vagus nerve. And this is we're going to tap into the auricular branches of the vagus nerve. So these are the parts of the vagus nerve that connect to our ears. So I want you just to find this crevice that's in between this top fold and then the next little fold in your ear. So when you find that little crevice in both ears, gently place your fingers there. And you're going to begin to massage, and having a bit of an emphasis as you kind of press your fingers back towards the wall or the space behind you. So a little bit more emphasis on this kind of backward motion. Kind of pressing the ears back. For a lot of people, they'll feel a little bit of tension here. Sometimes even a little bit of pain. And that's indicative of having a kind of a constricted vagus nerve. So we're going to gently massage. Again, the breath is very soft, natural. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And then draw the circles in the other direction. And then pause and kind of you're bringing the motion up towards the ceiling, towards the sky. And just pausing there for a few breaths, holding the ears up. Good, and then letting that go and just doing a couple of massaging motions with your ears. So you're just gently kind of tugging the ears away from your head. Just a gentle pull. And gently pulling the ears up toward the ceiling. Another breath with that. Good, and let your hands rest in your lap. And I want to finish it with doing an orientation exercise. So this is a beautiful, beautiful practice. If you find yourself overwhelmed, if you find yourself ungrounded, if you find that you're having a hard time being present, you're lost in your thoughts, confusion, this is a really beautiful practice to help you get right where your body's at. So feel your feet on the ground. It always starts with that. Okay, are you grounded? Are you connected? And we're going to move through the 5 senses. So let's start with our sense of touch. So this should be pretty easy to tune into because we just did all of this work. So tuning into, what do you feel? Can you feel your skin touching your clothes? Can you feel the air touching your skin? Can you feel the parts of your body that are in contact with your seat, your chair, the floor, whatever you're sitting on? And if the thoughts start to wander, bring it back to your senses. So now bring in the taste, the sense of taste. Do you taste anything? An essence of some taste. Bring it into the sense of smell. Is there anything you can smell subtly, or maybe you smell something very obvious? Again, your eyes can be open or closed. Now bring it to your sense of hearing. What do you hear in the immediate space around you? What do you hear that's further away? And if your eyes wander, or if your thoughts wander, excuse me, bring it back to your senses. What do you feel? What do you hear? It's right here in this present moment. What do you smell? What do you taste? And lastly, what do you see? So if your eyes are closed, open them and look around your environment. Look around the room you're in, the space you're in. What do you see? What is right here in this present moment with you? Your thoughts might be all over the place, but we don't care about what our thoughts are doing right now. We care about what are you doing and what is your body doing? What is your body sensing? And make sure you're looking kind of all around your right, your left. What do you see that's further away from you? What do you see that's right in front of you? And then bringing in the rest of the senses as well, our sense of touch, our sense of hearing. Our senses can never be in the past or the future. You are only sensing what you sense right here, right now. And so when we can be with our body, when we can be embodied with what our body is feeling and sensing, we are guaranteed to be right here, right now. But we have to have our attention there. We have to actually be embodied in that. And the more that we do this work, that muscle becomes stronger. That recognition of presence of ourselves in the present becomes stronger and stronger. So a few more moments just with the sensing, with your five senses. Your thoughts go to anything else, any analyzations, just bring it right back focused to what do you sense? Take a couple of big breaths with a big sigh out of your mouth. Kind of shaking that all off. All right. This half an hour class always goes by so fast. But everything that we did in this class, if everybody that's watching this replay later or that's here with me right now, if we can practice these little practices every single day, this builds up. And especially this orientation one, you can do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, as often as you can. That's the goal, more than the quality or the length. It's doing it as often as we can, so we build that recognition back to embodiment. And you can do any of these practices we did today anywhere. If you're in the grocery store checkout line, if you're in the middle of some heated debate, you can pause and get in tune with what do you sense, what do you feel. And so thank you, everyone that's here live. Thank you, everyone who's coming later to catch the recording, the replay. And if anybody wants to say anything in the chat, what you're feeling, you're more than welcome to do that. Or if you want to unmute yourselves and say anything, you're also most welcome to do that. If anybody has any questions.
I just want to say thank you so much for offering this, especially for free. It feels like something that we can all use in our lives in some kind of way, and you made it really like approachable and accessible. So a lot of times, you know, I feel like I've been my whole life like building all these tools, but since becoming a mother and living through the past few years, I'm like, oh, like it off, like where are all of them? And everything you just said was just, it felt like you can do this, you know, like these are all very simple practices that we can do in our everyday life. So thank you for making it so accessible, both through what you're teaching and sharing and through making it free.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much my pleasure. And yeah, it's one of those things that I like to tell my clients that I work with. It's all very simple, but it's not simplistic. But if we can keep it simple, if we can keep all of these practices simple, it also keeps it out of the mind and it keeps it out of the thoughts when we can just keep like a simple, because the body is so simple, really. Is if we can just give it the attention, we can give it the space to express, so many things will become unraveled. With so many wounds or traumas or stresses will start to unravel themselves. It takes this loving presence with our attention. And yeah, so thank you for being here. And every class is different. Every class we work on, some classes we're working a bit more with meditation and mindfulness. Some classes we're working more with the trauma-informed yoga. Every class is different. And now that we're going live with the classes, a lot of it will be based off what people, when they're coming to the live classes, what they're telling me they're moving through in that moment. And I can kind of tailor the classes to it. So thank you everyone for being here, and